Hey everyone, before we start this week's episode, we have to tell you that we are doing 4 live podcasts in Melbourne. We are back in front of live audiences for the first time in a long time, and we'd love you to come along. I'm talking March 28, April 4, April 11, and April 18, 4 Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. at the European Beer Cafe. Going to be a great time. And you know what? Before that show, or in the many nights before that, why not see Matt's stand-up show at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival?
What a great idea. Do I need to say any details about it?
Yeah, I'd love you to say the title and things.
It is called Nostalgia Was Better When I Was a Boy, or something like that. And it's on at the Victoria Hotel at 7:50-ish o'clock. And it's on every day but Mondays. And on Sundays, it's on an hour earlier. And you can come to my show on that Sunday and then walk with me over to the podcast. Let's do it together.
Will you be doing a live walking tour?
Sure. Well, I mean, I will be walking between the places live.
Wow, what a guy.
Aboard.
And hang on, people don't have to pay extra for that.
No.
Wow.
I won't be taking any toll walks.
Wow.
Toll roads, I'm going to say.
Well, you can get tickets to all 3 shows, including the walking tour, via the show notes. Check out those links.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Fantastic. And before we hear more of that witty banter, let's explain to the show for new listeners. Basically, we take it in turns to report on a topic often suggested by the people that listen to the show. One of us goes away, does the research, brings it back, and the other 2 have no idea what they're going to talk about. And it is Matt's turn to do that. And to get us onto topic, we always start with a question. Matt, what's your question?
My question is as follows.
What's the question?
What's your question?
What was the overarching topic for the last 3 weeks?
Oh, history.
Yes.
It was slightly narrower than
World history.
Yes.
The 20th century.
that. Yeah, even more now. What
20th century events.
did you not notice that there was a running theme?
Europe in the 20th century.
Yes.
Conflict in the 20th century in Europe.
Can we
European
just tighten
conflict.
that up? A specific conflict?
It was about like a war.
Yes.
That involved most of the world.
Do you know someone's keeping score with this? So there's a free point up for
World War
grabs.
One.
Correct.
Fuck you, Dave. Fuck you, Dave.
World War One is correct.
I was on the tip of my tongue. If you'd let me get it out, I could have got there.
No, Matt reminded me of the points, and I had my annual competitiveness.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
happens once a year, and that was it.
So, Matt, are you telling us that this week's episode is World War One?
Yes. This I was trying to nudge you towards this
I know.
a few weeks ago.
And I told you that I'm not a madman.
Yeah, you said that would be ridiculous. Well, I did. I did take that on board, but I thought, hey, don't make someone do what you won't do yourself. So,
Right.
I thought it was a nice way to finish off our month of World War One reports by doing a report on World War One.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So let's just maybe recap where we are, because you kicked it off a few weeks ago, Matt, with why World War One started with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
I'll give a very brief recap on that, and then the week after that, Dave, you talked us through
the Red Baron, the most successful pilot of the war.
The Ace of Aces.
What a name. Very cool. I'm going to get that tattooed because it's so cool.
Okay.
I don't know if you
That's
could pull
a
that
mistake,
off.
But all right.
How many people have you killed in the air?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't think you can do that.
Really?
You're not allowed to have that unless you have killed in the air.
Well, give me...
I know you've killed on the ground, you've killed at sea, you've killed under sea,
We know.
under the sea.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
You got to kill in the air at
Yeah.
least 5 times.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've 4 away. And then just last week, reported on probably the craziest man we've come across in a long time.
Such a strange life. Fritz Duquesne, well, he was a soldier turned English spy, turned German spy, turned US spy? Not really German again. And then a fake soldier.
And then also he imported hippos or something.
Yes.
Yeah. He got through all the industries.
He really packed a lot into a life.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard any of those, go back. Enjoy yourselves. And especially probably the one of those three that would make the most sense before getting into this one would be the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, always shouting out to his own topics is Matt.
Yeah.
Don't bother listening to the Jess and Dave reports.
They were shit.
I mean, they were more side dishes. It's like,
Okay.
if you want a little side salad or a bowl of chips on the side of the main meal, which is my reports.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
A steak of filet mignon, if you will.
Yes, a filet mignon.
what if I told you
yes.
that sometimes I just go straight for dessert, or I'll order 3 serves of croquettes.
Okay,
So,
well, I mean,
Love
that makes
oh,
sense.
how
to me.
good are
I
they?
actually love to just order a bunch of sides.
Yeah, exactly. So fuck
Have
you
a
and your
nibble.
main meal.
Yeah, fuck
Okay.
you with your main
Have a bit
meal.
of this, a bit of that.
Yeah, shares.
Nachos for the table.
Yum yum.
I
Yes.
love a cob loaf.
Cob loaf.
Herb and butter. Cob loaf. Is that an option?
And I love a cob corn
Oh yeah.
Love
for
a
the
cob.
table.
Yes.
1 cob of corn for the table, please, sir.
And I love a cob. Close of business.
A knockoff meal.
Anyhow,
Call it dinner. I call it a cob meal.
so the Franz Ferdinand episode, that was a few weeks back, episode 276. Feel free to go back to that. If you don't want to, I'll give you a brief recap now. So tensions were brewing in Europe for many years before World War I broke out. Hey, by the way, I've got a thought. This report is the longest I've ever done. I'm thinking about splitting it up for over 2 weeks. Are you cool with that?
Never split the party.
Right. So
Actually, that does not apply. This is a report. So yeah, no, that's fine.
you're telling me this is World War I Part 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Next week is World War
Two.
I Part 2.
No, World War I Part 2.
Right. Will you also cover World War II next week?
No.
Okay.
Will you ever do it now that you've done World War One?
I think because I didn't know enough about World War One, so I really enjoyed learning. As shallow as my research in this report is compared to the hectic thing it was quite a big event for the time.
So you're saying that the people in the trenches were working harder than you did on this report. Is that what you're saying?
No, not
Hey,
necessarily.
Dave, no spoilers, thanks.
Not
What are
necessarily.
trenches?
What's a trench?
What's a trench? What are you talking about?
But yeah, I mean, because it was quite a big thing that went for a few years. I haven't looked into how many years as yet. I'll get into that on next week's.
Right.
Right, yeah, okay.
I mean, by the time we finish this, we won't know if the war will ever finish.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it still
Wow.
going? Is that why you can't
In
finish
some
it?
ways, yeah. Hey, it's still echoing through the ages.
TBC.
So let me begin. So this is the brief recap. Tensions were brewing in Europe for many years before World War I broke out. The peace that existed in Europe via a system of alliances between the different European powers crumbled when the Archduke, Franz Ferdinand, and his wife were assassinated in Sarajevo on June the 28th, 1914. According to History.com, a website that I love, but also a website that is frankly obsessed with the past. Anyway.
Are you telling me that History.com has stopped making predictions?
Yeah, it really. Anyway, I don't want. I'm not having a go.
yeah.
It just feels.
But it's a bit like,
It's a
live in
bit-
the moment.
yeah.
How History.com/horoscopes.
Yeah. Hey, History.com, try and live in the moment a little
Live
bit.
in the now.
Look ahead.
Anyway, this is from History.com, a website that I love. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand set off a rapidly escalating chain of events. Austria-Hungary, like many countries around the world, blamed the Serbian government for the attack and hoped to use the incident as justification for settling the question of Serbian nationalism once and for all. There was a Serbian nationalism was brewing. They wanted their own country. They wanted their own. They wanted to grow the country into sort of a Serbian nation. I mean, Serbia was that, but they wanted to take in some of their bordering countries as well, like Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Wow. Well said.
Thank you so much. There were 5 main European powers at this point. Austria-Hungary was one, along with their ally Germany. Then there was Russia, France, and Britain, who made up the other side, the Triple Entente.
It's a great word.
There's a great
Yeah,
word.
that took me back to like year 8 history class.
Well, I'm really actually aiming for more of a year 9 level here, but
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Really?
I was pretty advanced. That's why
Yeah.
I'm so good at geography
Yeah, you excel
and history
from
and
year 8 to year 9.
a lot of stuff. Yeah. And then it was a lot of downhill from there.
Yeah, but honestly, year 9.
Oof, she peaked.
Some of these alliances made more sense than others. Some were a bit ideological. You'd say that Austria, Hungary, and Germany were kind of pretty tightly related, but I mean, in my research anyway, someone out there is going, what the fuck are you talking about? Couldn't be any more different. But on the other hand, Britain, for instance, they were being a bit more pragmatic. This is according to the UK's National Archives. British policy in Europe intended that no country in Europe should become completely dominant. If Russia, France, Germany and Austria-Hungary worried about each other, then they would be less of a threat to Britain. By about 1907, it was becoming clear to Britain that the greatest potential threat to Britain was going to be Germany. The strong economy, large population and powerful armed forces of Germany seemed to be capable of dominating Europe. As a result, Britain began to support Russia and France, and Britain joined the Triple Entente.
Wow, so they're sort of playing them off against each other a bit.
Yeah, they were sort of sitting back, which they have a bit more of an ability to do because they're an island off the side. But in the end, they're like, Germany really is growing, and their leader, Wilhelm II, did seem to be really wanting to make a mark on the continent. So, yeah, they really sided with France because of a fear of Germany rather than any strong bond to France.
Oh, okay.
But they were like, guys, we love you.
Ah,
You're
Francais.
great. Oh, brie cheese. We love it.
Croissants.
Yeah.
Yum, yum.
Wow. And Russia, my God, we love everything about you.
Yes.
I mean,
Look at your hat.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
That literature or something.
Whoa.
I mean, with Russia, the king and the Tsar were first cousins.
Cars.
What's up? Haven't seen you since Grandma's birthday.
But France, Britain and France have been long-time arch rivals, fought many wars against each other.
Hey, that's in the past now. That's
Hey.
right.
We should be doing English accents.
No. Keep it broad. It's less racist somehow.
Yeah.
And the king of England, George V, was also first cousins to Germany's Wilhelm II.
Cars.
So
Stop it.
Don't.
Don't.
And there was a real interesting relationship between these two countries. It was like Europe was a big, extended family. In a lot of ways because of Queen Victoria and apparently she did a lot of matchmaking around Europe, like getting her offspring to be sitting on thrones all around Europe, which I talked about a little bit in the Franz Ferdinand episode. But yeah, that meant that the King of Russia, King of Germany and the King of England, even though they're called Tsars and Emperors. Kaiser. Thank you. That's
The Kaiser.
so much better than king.
Such a good word. I love it.
And yeah, even at this point, the British royal family still had the German surname of von Sachsen-Coburg-Gotha.
Oof, that's good.
They only changed it to the more British-sounding Windsor due to anti-German feelings a few years into the World War in 1917. So they were basically, buds, sort of.
A family, literally.
But there was a rivalry, and the
like most
Kaiser,
families.
the Kaiser was sort of kicking off. He did this interview in England on a trip there, and said some pretty wild things. Kind of antagonistic, not the best diplomat, and apparently Germany's like, hey, well, maybe we'll not let you talk in that way anymore.
He's like on Graham Norton's couch. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Let's shut him off.
And Graham Norton's just like, why didn't we put him in that chair that we could tip over?
The red chair. Yeah, tell us an interesting story. And Graham, so they say hello, and he looks at his guest and goes, "Ugh, here we go." What? Oh no, shall we hear him out?
I think he would have loved it because he knows he's making the news.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
people are loving it.
Yeah, it was. It just was like he was speaking
He's like,
super freely.
Ask Tom Cruise to stop telling another story about a stunt that went wrong and be like, so just stop you there, Tom. He should have been a stunt man, not an actor. And Kaiser, can we hear more about your crazy outbursts?
And then that same year, members of the British royal family had to give up their German titles in 1917, and any of their relatives who were fighting for Germany were stripped of their British ones. So they were super tight until about halfway through the World War, when they're like, ooh. this war is making English people not quite like the Germans anymore.
This war is a little bit more serious than we first expected.
It reminds me a bit of when we were little and my cousin Siobhan, if I was doing something or if I wasn't doing what she wanted me to do, she would say, I won't be your cousin anymore. And being 18 months older than her, I was much smarter. And I was like, that's not how it works. You know, it was that classic thread of I won't be your friend anymore. As if it was ever going to... But she went as far to say, I won't be your cousin anymore. I was like, I don't think that's how it works.
No.
And then she pulled out the paperwork and said, I just have to sign here.
Yeah.
I've already got the stamp on the envelope.
And yeah, so... sorry, I should have said my former cousin when I started that story.
I'm standing here with a Supreme Court judge who's ready to ratify.
She was 4 years old.
I know.
Really
Advanced.
impressive, yeah.
Very impressive.
Don't know where she is now. Have not spoken to her in 20 years.
Surely she's on the Supreme Court.
I would assume so, yes. Yeah. But once again, have not spoken to her. Not allowed to, legally.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't talk to people who aren't your cousins.
Is that true?
Yes.
Anyway, good to be cousins with you too. So, Austria-Hungary, they knew that when they took on Serbia, Russia would have Serbia's back. And as Russia's army at the time significantly outsized Austria-Hungary's, Austria-Hungary sought the assurance from the Kaiser, Wilhelm II, that Germany would support them if required. Like, you know, they were already close, but they wanted a guarantee.
Bit of money on the table.
Yeah.
If they went over to Serbia, Russia kicks in, they're like, we need you to kick in for us, please, Germany. Will you do that, Kaiser? And, Austria-Hungary was also concerned that Russia's ally, France, and possibly Britain would also get involved. So they really needed Germany's help to even entertain the idea of invading Serbia or trying to start trouble with Serbia.
How do you have those conversations? Is it a phone call? Is it a meeting? Do you like wine and dine them and then be like, hey, by the way, could you back us in a war, please?
Yeah.
Is it an email? How do you do it?
It'd be so much easier now with a Zoom call.
Text,
yeah.
Hey, Jacinda, how you doing? BTW, going to war with US, you in?
Oh, no.
You picked the wrong. Do they have an army anymore?
Very small. Oh, no. I'd have sent it to Joe Biden. Oh, crap.
Oh, dear.
I've lost the element of surprise.
Oh, no.
Lol, jokes, Joe.
Lol, JK,
Mucking
JK.
Walking around.
Got you. Pranked. New phone, who dis?
Before Joe. Oh, thank God. It's 4 a.m. now. I'm sure he's asleep.
And he's replying
Unsend.
He replies with, oh, guys, I wish you told me sooner. I'm sitting on the nuke button.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice knowing you. On the 5th of July, a week after the assassination of Franz Ferdinand,
Yeah.
Kaiser Wilhelm II secretly gave Austria-Hungary his pledge that in case of war, Germany would get involved, which has been referred to as giving Austria-Hungary carte blanche or a blank check assurance. This is according to CFR.org. With the Kaiser's so-called blank check in hand, Austrian officials began drafting an ultimatum to Serbia. The rationale for the ultimatum was simple. Attacking Serbia without warning would make Serbia look like a victim. In contrast, an ultimatum would put the burden of avoiding war on Belgrade, the Serbian capital. The cover letter to the ultimatum gave Belgrade precisely 48 hours to reply. Not a lot of time.
And just to show we're serious, you have 24 hours.
Get your fastest pigeon on the job.
48 hours.
It's from Pigeon, yeah?
From when they've sent it as well.
Yeah.
It gets lost in the
Oh,
post.
my God. That's in 15 minutes. Trying to like send a smoke signal or something.
The ultimatum listed 10 demands. The most significant were that Serbia accept, quote, representatives of the Austro-Hungarian government for the suppression of subversive movements, which was point 5, and also that Serbia bring to trial all accessories to the Archduke's assassination and allow Austro-Hungarian delegates or law enforcement officers to take part in the investigation. That was point 6. So these ones, reading them now, I'm like, yeah, I guess they're pretty full on, but the way other foreign officials reacted to it were like, this is how they reacted. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Sazonov declared that no state could accept such demands without committing suicide. British Foreign Secretary Sir Edward Grey declared that he had, quote, never before seen one state address to another independent state a document of so formidable a character.
Oh, wow.
And Winston Churchill, then Britain's first Lord of the Admiralty, called it, quote, the most insolent document of its kind ever devised.
Whoa.
And it is pretty full on. They're going, hey, we're interfering with your state's business. We want to be involved in your state's own investigation. So it is pretty full on. But I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, I was expecting, because I tracked it down after reading all these reactions. I'm like, what does it say? Like they've
Dear asshole.
Yeah. You must fuck a pig.
Yeah, that's right. And we want it on film.
Yeah, I was like, anyway, same after where my head went.
You must fuck a pig, and then you must fuck a cow. 10 different animals.
To fuck.
Do it by close of
10.
business.
And each animal's larger than the last.
Yeah, that's right. Finally, fuck a blue whale.
They get to point 9, and they're like, oh, African elephant. Can't get bigger
He
than
can't
that.
get bigger than this.
Oh, no, he's going to sea mammals.
Oh, no. The Great Barrier Reef.
CFR.org contradicts these comments that were talking about it as the most full-on document of its kind, saying Austria's ultimatum was far more diplomatic than the one President Theodore Roosevelt gave Morocco 10 years before Franz Ferdinand's assassination, after the brigand Ahmed ibn Muhammad Razuli kidnapped Ion Perdicaris, a Greek-American citizen. Roosevelt's demand was blunt, quote, Perdicaris alive or Razuli dead.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah. But that happened 10 years before. So, you talk about the most insolent document of its kind ever devised.
He's alive or you're dead, mate.
Yeah.
Not, we're going to
badass.
have to sit in on this investigation, okay?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a president. That sounds like a threat from Mark Chopper Reed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like their ear cut onto it or something.
Roosevelt's fucked it up and cut off his own ear.
Let's see, he gave it the Chopper Reed style. The article continues, this is still from the CFR.org article, saying, whether the ultimatum was insolent or not, Vienna got the answer it wanted. Serbia refused to meet all 10 demands, and on July 28th, Austria declared war on Serbia. I'm not saying they should have accepted the demands either. I'm just saying they weren't as full on as I...
Yeah, you just imagining it as like...
Because I'd read about those in the Austria when I was reading about Franz Ferdinand and stuff weeks ago. So in my head, they just grew and grew into being pretty full on. So from here, Austria-Hungary believed they would claim a quick victory over Serbia.
And is Serbia at this stage, they don't know that Germany is backed Austria-Hungary?
They'd have an inkling. I think that, it would be fair for them to assume that might be the case. But it's not official. It was a secret deal, apparently. So that Austria-Hungary very naively thought it was going to be a quick victory over Serbia. They basically thought they'd go in and crush Serbia before the other powers were able to mobilise their forces and get involved. Of course, they were dead wrong. On August the 1st, Germany declared war on Russia. That was them jumping in for Austria-Hungary. Then on August 3rd, Germany declared war on France.
How do you declare war on someone?
You write a letter. Dear France,
We
I
are
declare
very mad at you.
a war.
You have been very naughty.
We're coming at you.
Let's war. 4 o'clock Friday. Tick yes. Tick
Yeah.
no.
What are you doing for the next 4 years? Clear schedule.
Do you have any meal requirements?
Yeah, and he's dietary requirements, any planned leave in the next few years.
If you're looking for accommodation, here are some suggestions, and here is our gift registry. Germany had been preparing for a European war for years. As a newly formed nation, flanked by traditional powers and rivals France and Russia, Germany felt isolated and also like they had a point to prove. According to the UK's National Archives, when Kaiser Wilhelm II took control of Germany, he was anxious for Germany to be a great power. He felt that Russia to the east and France to the west were encircling Germany, and as a result, he built up his armed forces. So he's building up his armed forces, and the countries around him noticed that. Then France and Russia feared Germany, and they did the same. They built up their armed forces.
I love him one day seeing a map for the first time, being like, oh my God, they're closing in on us. So they've been like that for a long time. They've been there a long, long time. No, look at them. There's one there, there's one there.
That's crazy.
During the 1900s, all of the great powers in Europe began to build up their armies and navies. I've written here they all had FOMO, fear of military occupation, but I won't. I do feel some...
Enjoy that.
Not sure if I'll leave that in, but we're recording this just before it's going out. Oh, Jess is looking at me with disgust. Preparing for a potential war with their neighbours to the east and west, Germany drew up a plan in 1905. So this is nearly a decade before the war broke out. And this is known, or was known, and remains known, as the Schlieffen Plan. For its architect, Alfred von Schlieffen.
Okay, that's a great name.
It's a great name.
Is he a good person, bad person?
I guess I think he was just a German army guy who had a plan.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he was, I don't know much about him, but
Okay.
I don't think he's inherently good.
I just don't want to be like, wow, that's a good name. And it turns out,
Nah.
like, if you've never heard of Hitler and you're like, Hitler, I like that. That's a good name,
Yeah.
Then you'd be like, oh, boy.
Oh,
once
boy.
you find out, you're like, oh, no, I've said something very silly indeed.
According to Britannica, Schlieffen was an ardent student of military history, and his strategic plan was inspired by the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE. So we went a ways back. It was a pivotal engagement during the Second Punic War. At Cannae, the Carthaginian general Hannibal defeated a much larger Roman force with a successful double envelopment, turning the Roman army's flanks and destroying it. Schlieffen was convinced that a modern enemy force could be defeated in the same way, and the execution of a massive flank attack became the main focus of his plan. He proposed in 1905 that Germany's advantage over France and Russia, its likely opponents in a continental war, so he's calling this 10 years before it happened, was that the two were separated. Germany, therefore, could eliminate one while the other was kept in check. Once one ally was defeated, Germany would be able to combine its forces to defeat the other through massive troop concentration and rapid deployment.
Just don't understand that. Being like, hey, how about we fight two wars at the same time? One over this side, one over this side.
It's a major advantage to us.
Yeah, they did it again in World War II. What?
Well, I mean, the Britannica article also mentions this. The plan was heavily modified by Schlieffen's successor, Helmuth von Moltke, prior to and during its implementation in World War I. So Schlieffen wasn't around to put it into practice, and it got watered down a bit. But the basic idea was still intact, but who knows, maybe if the initial Schlieffen plan was used, maybe it would have worked. But yeah, it is a wild idea, but it sort of makes sense. It's one of those, it's so crazy it could just work. The plan was for Germany to quickly defeat France, then turning the full might of their army towards Russia. France being to Germany's west, that made the war between those two nations the Western Front, with the fight with Russia the Eastern Front. Probably embarrassing to mention. I never really got what exactly the Western and Eastern fronts were, but reading that I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So that's why I assume people who know a lot about this stuff won't be listening to this. So I figure it's worth, if I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So I figure worth saying. Germany chose its route to France's capital, Paris, or Paris.
Thank you.
Paris, hey!
Hey! What am I doing with these 250,000 troops behind me? Nothing.
Don't worry about it.
Bit of tourism.
You look good.
Soldiers love the Eiffel Tower.
They love it.
So they chose the route to Paris via Belgium. Belgium was a neutral country.
Okay.
Not involved in the war at this point. And according to history.com...
At this point?
Well, I mean, they had said, we are neutral. We don't want any trouble. They hadn't picked a side.
Mm-hmm.
According to history.com, on August the 4th, 1914, German troops crossed the border into Belgium in the first battle of World War I. The Germans assaulted the heavily fortified city of Liège using the most powerful weapons in their arsenal, enormous siege cannons. And they captured the city by August 15th, so a week and a bit later. The Germans left death and destruction in their wake as they advanced through Belgium towards France, shooting civilians and executing a Belgian priest they had accused of inciting civilian resistance.
But Belgium had said, no, thank you.
Yeah, we don't want any trouble from either side. We're not getting involved.
Huh.
Invading neutral Belgium is seen as a tactical error by Germany as it brought Britain into the war. According to the UK's National Archives again, despite being part of the Triple Entente, Britain was not committed to going to war in 1914. The Foreign Secretary, Sir Edward Grey, spent much of the summer of 1914 furiously trying to reassure Russia and Germany and prevent a war happening. Even when German troops invaded France and Belgium as part of the Schlieffen Plan, Britain did not have to go to war. Sounds like Britain was really just like hey, things are pretty good. We've got a pretty good thing going on here, don't we? There's a bunch of powers, and we're sort of we can muck this all up if we start putting all our cash and citizens into Well, they weren't thinking citizens at this point. Our armies into the war.
Hey, we sent flowers. Did you get those flowers?
Yeah.
They were pretty good,
chocolates.
right? Did you get the chocolates?
Do you like chocolates?
Kaiser?
What do you like?
Hello?
I'll send it to you.
No, or is Britain sending chocolates to the Kaiser saying, love from France?
That's right. Hey, I think our friend sent you a gift. Isn't that right?
Yeah, France bought you this drink. Hey, that big stud over by the bar, you send him a
big drink.
big drink.
Nice big drink.
Get him a big drink.
What a big studs drink.
Big drinks. Honestly, it's too big to hold.
Well, especially for him, famously had a small hand.
Yeah, so get him a big straw too, please.
The article goes on. Germany hoped Britain would stay out of the war altogether. So they kind of rolled the dice a little bit going through Belgium. They were like, Britain, you don't need to get involved in this. This is no big thing. However, the Germans knew that Britain had promised to defend Belgium under the Treaty of London of 1839. The Germans wanted the British government to ignore the Treaty of London and let the German army pass through Belgium.
That was ages ago, guys.
Apparently the Kaiser was like, well, you're going to start trouble over a little piece of paper? I mean, isn't that what all of these deals are?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny, that one to him is a little piece of paper. The British government made much of their duty to protect Belgium, though. Belgium's ports were close to the British, and I'm reading this going, oh, good on you, Britain. And then you realise, oh, it was a tactical thing still as well. Belgium's ports were close to the British coast, and German control of Belgium would have been seen as a serious threat to Britain. And in the end, Britain refused to ignore the events of the 4th of August 1914, when Germany attacked France through Belgium, and within hours, Britain declared war on Germany. So there's less than a week after Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and now Russia, Belgium, France, Great Britain, and Serbia were at war with Austria-Hungary and Germany. World War I had begun. On August the 15th, 1914, Japan, so at this point really, and I mean the whole war in a lot of ways is just a European war.
Well, I mean, come on. How much of the world is it?
The way it kicked off anyway, and it was really...
What is this, the World Series?
Yeah, come on.
It's a European fight in a lot of ways, but, you know, countries from everywhere were drawn into it, especially with, I'll talk about it later, but the British Empire, as soon as they entered, countries from around the world were brought in under
really get sucked in, eh?
the British Empire. Might even be next week I talk about that.
Oh.
Bit of sizzle. But anyway, so there's already a bunch of countries in, just a week after it had begun. It's on. On August the 15th, 1914, Japan then sent an ultimatum to Germany demanding the removal of all German ships from Japanese and Chinese waters. The ultimatum also demanded the surrender of control of the Tsingtao. Ronnie Cheng did an ad about a beer with this name, and the whole campaign was him teaching you how to say it properly. And it's not what I just said. Anyway.
Is it Qingdao?
Qingdao, maybe, yeah.
I'm also basing it on the ad and a memory of it, so I apologise I'm saying it wrong.
So they wanted control of Qingdao, where Germany had its largest overseas naval bases on China's Shantung Peninsula. According to History.com, when Germany did not respond, Japan declared war on them on August 23rd. Its navy immediately began preparing an assault against Qingdao, with Britain contributing 2 battalions to Japan's force of 60,000. the Japanese approached the naval base across China, breaching that country's neutrality. On November the 7th, the German garrison at Qingdao surrendered, and Japanese troops were home by the end of the year. So they got that done pretty quick.
That's a way to do it.
Japan was involved in the war for the duration, though. But yeah, they were. It was an interesting time for Japan. It sounds like, growing in their sort of worldview, and after this war, they were on the other side coming into the Second World War. So things were changing there. But I won't go into that at all in the rest of this report. Back to the Western Front.
Great. Well, you're just bringing that in just to make it a bit more worldly. You're like, great, we've got a bit of Asia
See, it's
happening as well.
world. It's
Fantastic.
world war.
Back to Europe.
A little bit. I mean, yeah. It's hard to it's hard to do this thing.
Really?
There's a lot
you
going
don't
on.
say, yeah.
Who would have thought?
I know, crazy.
No, you're doing a great job. I'm really invested.
Back to the Western Front. Having conquered Belgium, Germany continued on towards Paris with hopes of a quick victory over France. This is part of the Schlieffen plan.
Mm-hmm.
Quick victory over France, then send the full might of their army as much as they can, although some of them had to go fight Japan, which helped the Entente. But anyhow, History.com, this is from this article I loved. This is the article that made me think that doing this report was possible. It's just the History.com article about the whole war.
Wow.
And it misses a lot of stuff I had to get from elsewhere. But this is from that, and it really breaks down some of the key stuff on the Western Front. Quote, in the First Battle of the Marne, fought from September 6th to 9th, 1914, French and British forces confronted the invading Germany army, which had by then penetrated deep into northeastern France, within 30 miles of Paris. And really, they were a great shot of encircling Paris, which was the initial plan. The Allied troops checked the German advance and mounted a successful counterattack, driving the Germans back to north of the Enna River. I had to look up how to pronounce that because it's written Asni. Anyway, but I think I read elsewhere that that was almost a technical blunder. They could have gone for Paris there, but they sort of got drawn. They looked like they were taking the retreating French and British. They sort of followed them when maybe they shouldn't have. But, mistakes are going to be made. Geez, the pressure on people making decisions in an army would be hectic.
Yeah.
One little false move and so many people's lives at risk. Article goes on. The defeat meant the defeat meant the end of German plans for a quick victory in France, and both sides dug into trenches. This is where trench warfare began. And the Western Front was the setting for a hellish war of attrition that would last more than 3 years. Particularly long and costly battles in this campaign were fought at Verdun from February to December 1916, and the Battle of the Somme from July to November 1916, that's a very famous one.
Yeah. I think really bad for the British, right?
Yeah. I think, well, a lot of people died on both sides. But
yeah.
German and French troops suffered close to 1 million casualties in the Battle of Verdun alone.
What the fuck? That's too many.
I'd do less, in an ideal world.
But, Jess, are you happy that it's been rounded up to 1 million?
Yeah, happy about the number 1 million. Not happy about that being in relation to people dying, to be honest. If it was like $1 million for Jess's bank account.
Okay.
Think very positively
So just
about
to
that.
confirm, you'd prefer $1 million for more than $991,000?
Yeah, I wouldn't take that.
Okay, but would you prefer $1 million or $1,001,000? This is a question.
Look, I'd take it. I reckon I would bravely take
Good on you.
1 million.
Well done.
And
That's progress.
$1,000.
That is growth.
Thank you.
Right before our eyes.
Yeah.
So obviously,
I'm in my 30s now.
I think a lot of the famous World War I stuff is on this Western Front in the trenches. I'm not really going to that too much. That's just a very brief overview. And then the same article flips over to the Eastern Front and gives it equally brief treatment. Russian forces invaded the German-held regions of East Prussia and Poland, but were stopped short by German and Austrian forces at the Battle of Tannenberg in late August 1914. Despite that victory, Russia's assault had forced Germany to move 2 corps from the Western Front to the Eastern, contributing to the German loss at the Battle of the Marne, which we talked about before, which is a big, important battle. Combined with the fierce Allied resistance in France, the ability of Russia's huge war machine to mobilise relatively quickly in the East ensured a longer, more grueling conflict instead of the quick victory Germany had hoped to win under the Schlieffen Plan.
So now they're both fighting on both sides going, fuck!
Yeah.
This is not what we wanted.
And yeah, full on just slog, just brutal. I mean, so many lives being lost on both sides, having to replenish the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nightmarish.
nuts.
One of the traditional European powers that I didn't mention, because they'd sort of slipped from the top of the pops prior to this, was the Ottoman Empire. But they were still kicking. They entered the war in October of 1914 on the side of Germany and Austria-Hungary. And on November the 5th, France and Britain both declared war on them. By this stage, they weren't a major power, but they did have a history of power. And again, this is a thing that I found interesting. I'd heard the Ottoman Empire a lot, but I didn't really know much about it. So I'll just take this from a different history.com article, just gives it a little bit of an idea about them. The Ottoman Empire was one of the mightiest and longest-lasting dynasties in world history. This Islamic-run superpower ruled large areas of the Middle East, Eastern Europe and North Africa for more than 600 years. The chief leader, known as the Sultan, was given absolute religious and political authority over his people. While Western Europeans generally viewed them as a threat, many historians regard the Ottoman Empire as a source of great regional stability and security, as well as important achievements in the arts, science, religion and culture.
Wow.
At its height, the Ottoman Empire included the following regions: Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, Egypt, Hungary, Macedonia, Romania, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, among others.
Wow.
It was a big, powerful empire. But what brought into the war? Well, this comes from Britannica. The Ottoman Empire entry into World War I resulted from an overly hasty calculation of likely advantage. The Ottomans made a substantial contribution to the Central Powers war effort. Their forces fought in Eastern Asia Minor, Azerbaijan, Mesopotamia, Syria and Palestine, and the Dardanelles, as well as on European fronts, and they held down large numbers of Entente troops. But yeah, I think they got involved because they thought they were gonna win some quick victories and maybe still thinking, hey, we can rise again as a great power. But this was really the death throes for them. With the deadlock in trench warfare on the Western Front in January of 1915, Germany started utilising their zeppelins against the British. I think it was Dave's report, episode 120, about the Hindenburg disaster.
That's right. Jess, you remember anything about that?
Yeah, I remember Zeppelins.
Yeah, when I think, Dave, you actually went into a bit of the history of Zeppelins.
Yep.
They're basically big air blimps.
Yeah.
Lighter than air. Were filled with hydrogen?
Yes.
Or something
at
like
first. Because it
which
sadly
is I mean,
flammable.
Yeah.
because this is earlier, this was at first.
Yep.
So they were invented by German Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin in the late 1800s.
Incredible.
And they were really still brand new technology at this point. By the time of the Hindenburg disaster, that was 30 odd years later, between the two wars, wasn't it? I think it was just before World War II.
In America. It crashed.
According to a BBC article by historian and aerial specialist Ben Robinson, before the 20th century, civilians in Britain were largely unaffected by war. But this was to change on the 19th of January 1915 with the first air attacks of World War I by the German Zeppelin. When the war started in 1914, the German armed forces had several Zeppelins, each capable of travelling at about 85 miles per hour and carrying up to 2 tons of bombs. The first raid took place on the eastern coastal towns of Great Yarmouth and King's Lynn on the 19th of January 1915. Residents reported hearing an eerie throbbing sound above them, followed shortly afterwards by the sound of explosions in the streets. Doesn't that gives you sort of chills? Kate Argyle from English Heritage said, quote, There was no military advantage. It was all about instilling terror, and really, that's what these aerial bombardments did. The Zeppelins would come out of the dark. You couldn't see them, and it was totally random. You didn't know if you were running towards danger or away from it. So you'd hear it and you'd be like, shit, run, but
Where?
Yeah.
Could be running straight for it.
The aim of the Zeppelins was clear. The Germans hoped to break morale at home and force British government into abandoning the war in the trenches. But that was not the sort of chaos and panic that the Germans had wanted. But there was not the sort of chaos and panic that the Germans had wanted. The people reacted very stoically.
Yeah, like, well, fuck you. I'm going to join the army then.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. And they sort of, supposedly, according to Miss Argyle, they got on with the job of clearing up that British sense of not being fazed by this. And then as the months went on, the bombing raids continued. To this point, the Zeppelins would get in, drop some bombs, get out unharmed. No one knew they didn't quite know what to do. But at the beginning of September 1916, more than a dozen German airships headed for Britain in their largest raid. Bombs fell in Nottinghamshire, Lincolnshire, and Kent, but only one airship made it through to London. It immediately came under heavy anti-aircraft fire and was shot down by 19-year-old William Leaf Robinson. While Britain celebrated, the Germans stepped things up with the so-called Super Zeppelins, but Britain had
They had a red racing stripe on them.
Yeah,
we're jazzing them up a bit, making them bigger.
I bedazzled
That 19-year-old
this one.
shot us down. Let's give him a bigger target.
Yeah.
So they're bringing out these Super Zeppelins, but unfortunately for them, as the article says, Britain had found the Zeppelin's Achilles heel, explosive bullets which would set the hydrogen alight.
Wow.
This would prove to be the Zeppelin's undoing. When a Zeppelin first appeared in the skies above Great Yarmouth, it was an invincible force, but now they were outclassed and dealt with swiftly. And this was in a matter of a couple of years. So there was a fair bit of time where they were absolutely freaking out. English. During their brief but deadly dominance, the airships killed more than 500 people and injured more than 1,000 in places all down the east of the country. And yeah, like Argyle said, there was no real advantage. These are people, still getting about their lives. It was just trying to build pressure on the government to go, hey, let's pull out of this war.
Yeah.
But it did not have that effect. And like Dave said, it probably had the opposite effect. It made people go, because literally babies were dying in their beds after being bombed because they're bombing indiscriminately in civilian areas. So people are like, I want to join this.
Yeah, fuck these pricks. There's one way to make it stop, and that's to make it the whole war stop by winning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't know anything about that, so that's why I sort of went into that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Tragic as well.
Yeah, it's so much tragedy. That's something I found about the World War.
Do you think there's a few grim facts coming up?
Pretty grim.
Pretty grim topic.
Pretty grim overall.
Well, I mean, that's a bit of a hot take.
Yeah. But there's also like so many stories. There's a million. I mean, like you two picked two out in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's so many stories.
Millions of moving parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, with so many people involved, you're going to get these weird and wonderful characters and
bravery and tragedy.
But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to do is just give just an overall, sort of like a Zeppelin air view of the war. Does that make sense to you? A Zeppelin's like a big blimp.
I just feel like maybe because they don't seem like they're very good, because they're dropping bombs on people. That's not good. So maybe you should just be like a drone.
Oh, okay.
Because drones
like a friendly drone.
Yeah, drones haven't done anything bad.
Yeah.
A drone with a smiley face on it.
Yeah, a drone from like Barry Plant Real Estate Agency.
Yeah, a friendly drone.
What about like a Goodyear blimp?
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty positive. Goodyear.
Now we're talking.
That's one of your old catchphrases, in fact.
Oh, yeah.
A Goodyear blimp.
I was like, and now we're talking. I've never said that.
And now we're talking. But I think you should start. Now we're talking.
Oh, now we're talking. All right, I'm going to start saying it.
So Zeppelins were new to warfare, for sure. But on the other hand, ships. The blimps of the sea.
Oh, my God, yes.
They're like,
And horses, the blimps of the land.
Kaiser, what if we could get a blimp in the ocean?
Well, actually, Dave, the ships had been used in warfare for many years prior to this.
Really?
No.
Before a blimp?
Even pre-blimp, yep.
They were using boats
Yep.
before
Do you
blimp.
think that blimps are actually the boats of the sky? God, I always got that the wrong way around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Oh, airship.
Airship. Mm-hmm. But in the water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sort of like a
ship.
water airship.
God, so many things were invented for this war.
Yeah. I mean, what's one of the good things about war is the innovation.
That's right, innovation, technology. It grows in leaps and bounds.
We
now,
put ships on the water.
now they're flying in the water.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I was going to talk about briefly. I was writing about how planes changed the war a little bit, even though they were more effective in World War II. But then I remembered where I recently heard all that was in your episode.
Someone's telling me about that.
It's funny. I was hearing about how planes changed a lot.
Yeah, the
When
Red
was
Baron
that?
episode, because it was about the Red Baron, but you also talked a lot about how planes got involved.
A lot,
in
Dave.
the war. You actually went on. It was a bit yappy.
Yeah.
Bit much. It's a bit of this.
Yeah.
Bit of this.
I'm doing the.
One of these, two of these. Use them in that ratio,
Yeah.
please.
Need a
Talking
little
of-
more of
I
this.
was pointing at my cock and balls.
One of these,
Mate.
two of these. And it's the wrong way round for
Yeah, that's
Matt.
right.
He's got two penises
Yeah.
and one ball.
One ball.
It's very big, though, the ball.
Yeah.
One big ball.
One big ball.
You got to overcompensate.
No, you guys are confused. I'm just sitting on one of those old bouncy balls with two handles. So anyway, I'm going to talk a bit about ships
Okay.
in the war. According to history.com, in the years before World War I, the superiority of Britain's Royal Navy was unchallenged by any other nation's fleet. This was the pride of Britain. They had a smaller army. I think the other powers at this point had like big civilian armies. They drew on the population more, whereas Britain still just had a smaller sort of pro-army.
Yeah, right.
I'm using the wrong terms, but you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah.
But their navy was massive, bigger than anyone else's. I mean, makes some sense. They were fully surrounded by water.
They were girt.
They were girt by sea.
A lot more good.
So their superiority on the waves, on the high seas, was unsurpassed. But the Imperial German Navy had made substantial strides in closing the gap between the two naval powers. Germany's strength on the high seas was also aided by its lethal fleet of U-boat submarines.
Oh, no.
After the Battle of Dogger Bank in January 1915... in
Love that. Never heard of that
Dogger
one.
Bank.
Dogger Bank.
I'm imagining dogs robbing a bank.
Oh, my God. Are they wearing balaclavas?
Of course.
Wow.
Well, they
I
want
was
to be
imagining-
identified, do they?
I was imagining people having sex and other people watching. Is that what dogging is?
You would.
Inside a bank?
Oh, wait, you'd assume dogs would be involved in dogging, but apparently not.
And you learn that the hard way. Hi, guys. I'm here for the event. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
no.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Poochie, time to go
The
home.
event.
Time to go. Get in the car.
Get in the car.
Here for the dogging event.
You're no longer needed.
Poochie.
Poochie, get out of here.
Poochie, go home.
Poochie,
Poochie, go home.
I don't want you to say this.
Don't look at me.
Oh, my God. I thought this was a dog show.
Don't look at me. That's what you get for naming your dog Poochie.
Sorry. First dog name that comes into my head.
You have a dog.
I don't want to involve Humphrey in this absolute
Dogging.
debauchery.
So after the Battle of Dogger Bank in January 1915, in which the British mounted a surprise attack...
Mounted a Pomeranian.
Dear. You're being silly now, listeners. So sorry for you to seem like this. This is still from history.com. The British mounted a surprise attack at Dogger Bank on German ships in the North Sea. The German Navy chose not to confront Britain's mighty Royal Navy in a major battle for more than a year, preferring to rest the bulk of its naval strategy on its U-boats, the submarines. The biggest naval engagement of World War I, the Battle of Jutland, in May 1916, left British naval superiority on the North Sea intact. And Germany would make no further attempts to break an Allied naval blockade for the remainder of the war. I mean, this is summarising it pretty briefly. They had some wins on the seas as well, the Germans.
But they were mostly pinned in, is that right?
Yeah. They kept going into lakes and going, oh no, we're in this bloody...
Shit.
Someone put up a dam on this.
Do a U-boat U-turn.
That was what they were meant to be good at.
I still think
assume.
submarines are stupid.
Really?
I think they're dumb.
Underwater blimps.
What are they for?
Well, it's like
What's wrong with being above the water?
Well, you can't see them under the water.
Okay, so paint your boat camo.
Yeah, paint your boat the colour of the ocean.
Oh, that's
I
clever.
just think submarines are funny.
Yeah,
That's all.
I think they're funny
What a
too.
comedy.
Up Periscope.
That's very
Do you
funny.
reckon are they the funniest transport or...
What
What are those ones that can go on water and land?
I'm thinking hoverboats.
Hoverboards, yeah. No, hoverboats.
Hoverboats.
Is that what they're called?
Hovercraft?
Hovercraft.
It's not hover
Hoverboat.
or boat. Hovercrafts. I also think tandem bicycles are funny.
Yeah, I've never been on one, but I want
They
to.
look funny.
Yeah, it looks
Especially
funny.
if you're the person who's just pedaling and you have no control of the steering.
Yeah.
No, don't turn left.
Yeah.
I was standing in the city the other week and a guy in a suit cruised past on an electric unicycle. I'm like,
Electric unicycle. Yeah.
That's number one for
I bet
funny.
he would have grown up like a hippie juggling and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like hippies do, they juggle.
Yep.
And then he sold out of the corporate interests.
And
yeah.
now he's definitely the most fun guy in that office. So he's always like,
It's just so
all right,
funny.
hooroo, everyone, taking my unicycle. But they're like, shut up, Steve.
It was fun. It's just something about seeing a guy ride such a silly mode of transport with such a glum look on his face in a suit holding a briefcase. It was something fun about it.
Sold out on the way to work for Shell.
Shell for shell.
His petrol guzzling electric unicycle.
Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Sorry, that was a bit much.
So Germany had a crack at the high seas, but they got sort of
That's
blockaded
right.
in.
But the U-boats did have a major impact on the war, as well as proving an effective way to attack their enemies. They also played a large role in bringing the United States into the war. You heard of these guys? United States?
Who?
America? United States of America?
Merca?
Okay.
America?
Merca?
Yeah.
Ah.
History.com also summarizes the United States' involvement in the war, saying, at the outbreak of fighting in 1914, the United States remained on the sidelines of World War I, adopting the policy of neutrality favoured by President Woodrow Wilson.
Woody.
While continuing to engage in commerce and shipping with European countries on both sides of the conflict. They're like, we don't want to get in this war, we just want to make money out of both sides. Sort of like Gordon Gekko as the president. Neutrality, however, was increasingly difficult to maintain in the face of Germany's unchecked submarine aggression against neutral ships, including those carrying passengers. According to the worldwar.org, on February 4th, 1915, Germany initiated a policy of unrestricted submarine warfare, whereby all merchant ships, including those of neutral countries, would be subject to attack. There's this big sort of growing power in the United States who's sending ships past, and Germany's like, let's fucking blow them up.
Why do they keep making these arrogant choices?
It just seems like, it seems like a bit of a mistake. But, I mean, they sort of temper that shortly. Germany did at this point declare the area around the British Isles a war zone. I guess in their minds, they're like, anyone delivering stuff to our enemy, we don't. Some of it's probably got ammunition and things they're using in the war effort. So that was their logic. According to History.com, a string of attacks on merchant ships followed, culminating in the sinking of the British ship Lusitania by a German U-boat on May the 7th, 1915. Although the Lusitania was a British ship and it was carrying a supply of munitions, these things are what Germany used to justify the attack. It was principally a passenger ship, which, is a pretty full-on thing to attack. And the 1,201, people who drowned in its sinking included 128 Americans. The incident prompted US President Woodrow Wilson to send a strongly worded note to the German government demanding an end to German attacks against unarmed merchant ships. By September 1915, the German government had imposed such strict constraints on the operation of the nation's submarines that the German Navy was persuaded to suspend U-boat warfare altogether.
Wow.
So it was a very strongly worded
Wow,
letter.
yeah.
And they obviously were a bit wary of America.
Yeah, let's not fuck with them.
The sinking of the Lusitania, don't know how to say that, had already helped...
I think we've said Lusitania before.
Lusitania. The sinking of the Lusitania had already helped turn the tide of public opinion against Germany, though. By early 1917, German Navy commanders had convinced Kaiser Wilhelm II that the U-boats were essential to the war effort, suggesting that unrestricted U-boat warfare could result in a German victory by the second half of 1917. Let us use the U-boats on
We'll
anything.
sort this out.
We'll just take it. We'll get it done.
You keep saying U-bolt because of Usain Bolt, do you reckon?
I think it's, chuck a U-bolt. It's like chuck a U-banger. Chuck a U.
I've never heard U-bolt.
Is U-bolt not a thing?
No.
Chuck a Usain Bolt.
Chuck a Usain Bolt, mate.
No, I've never heard
No.
U-banger.
U-banger I've heard. Yui, obviously.
U-bang, Yui.
Yeah, chuck a U-banger.
U-bolt.
Fuck, we're a dumb country.
I made that up.
What are we talking about?
I imagine these are probably international terms.
U-banger.
Yeah.
Chuck a U-banger.
Chuck a Yui.
Chuck a Huey. Yeah.
God, it's a beautiful language.
Or as my girlfriend calls it, a Melbourne special.
Oh, Hueys are new to her.
Yeah, they're up in Sydney and Canberra. Less
They just do the block.
gung-ho.
Well, also because
about
a lot
hook
of
turns?
they've got a lot of one-way streets.
Yeah, a lot of no right turns kind of thing.
Yeah. That's probably why.
But yeah, she was amazed at how often...
The
but
Melbourne economy
she's,
was born on the U-turns
and
back.
she's definitely started to fit in.
Yeah.
Great on the U-bang now.
Oh, great.
Melbourne specials left, right and centre.
Love a
Good
U-bang.
on her. Melbourne special.
Mostly left and right, not much in the centre.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck them.
Fuck 'em, I reckon.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck 'em. A beautiful language.
Oh, great.
So the Navy commanders, German Navy commanders, they convinced the German army. They said, "Hey, our mates on land, huh? You get it?
You land lubbers.
Yeah, if you give us ability just to blow stuff up."
Yeah, let us just blow some shit up. Hey, aren't you guys a bit sick of war? Let me blow some shit up. I can sort this out for you.
Yeah. Simple
Give
as
me
that.
10 minutes.
Yeah, I can have this war wrapped up in 10 minutes.
All right. 15.
Just to be safe. But I reckon 10. But mark
10
me out for
easy.
15.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a liar.
Yeah, give me 15. It might take me more like 11 by the time I get back. But
Yeah.
I'll have it all wrapped up.
Have
in
you already
10
started the
easy.
clock? Oh, fuck. I'm going to need 16 minutes.
You started the clock 10 minutes ago. Oh, dear. I wasn't even here 10 minutes ago. Why'd you start a random clock? Oh, that's not for me. That's for someone else. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I am so flustered.
You got multiple people on the clock.
So
I could not find a park. I could not find If you just give me like 2 minutes to get my stuff together, I promise you my presentation will blow your mind. All right. Do you have something I can put this USB stick in?
I found the park, but then I was in a rush. I ran out, then I realised left the presentation in the car, had to go back to the car, get it. Now I'm even later. Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I am
stress.
sweating a lot.
Has anybody got
do
some
you have
deodorant?
a colour printer?
I'm going to need one of those. I was told,
Need A3 printer.
do you have AV facilities?
I'm Gary, by the way.
Great to meet you. Let me
Do
take you
you
through.
have a VHS?
Come on.
I was told there'd be an easel ready for my presentation. I will
don't
be
s-
painting this.
I don't see no easel.
I spoke to Sharon on the phone.
Where is
Is
Sharon?
Sharon here?
Sharon? Well, it'd be nice to put a face to a name. A face of a liar?
Matt, so patiently waiting to continue.
Sorry. So they've said, in
Let's
summary,
validate parking.
yeah, do I have to pay for my own ticket if I don't get the deal? That seems rough.
Who do I speak to for a cup of tea? I am parched. Is that too much to ask?
So the German Navy commanders, they convinced the army, they said, we need the U-boats to be able to get back in action, just blow up whatever they like.
Back in the water.
There was one guy, the German Chancellor, Theobald von Bethmann Hollweg.
Oh, he's the Beth man. Oh, it seems like the groom has a lisp. Matt, will you be my Beth man?
Theobald von Bethmann Hollweg. He feared He feared antagonizing the Americans. He's like, I don't think we should be doing this, but he wasn't invited to the meeting.
He wasn't invited to the wedding.
To the wedding. Best man, not invited to the wedding, unfortunately. And
So he's got. Was he not invited because they were like, this guy doesn't agree with us?
possibly.
Let's not let him in.
But the Kaiser, once the Kaiser said, yeah, let's go for it, Theobald von Bethmann, the Bethmann, Holweg, he got behind it and he said, fair enough, you're the boss. So with that, the U-boats were back in action.
So how long were they were out for a bit? So they said, America, don't worry about
something
it.
like, up to, not quite, but nearly 2 years. Over a year anyway.
And then
1915 to early 1917.
Wow.
Now they're like, fuck it, let's go after everything.
Yes. I think about September 1915, the German government had imposed the strict constraints, and they basically pulled the pin on it. And then Feb 1915. So less than a year and a half, but over a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
The Chancellor's fears about America being antagonized were warranted, as according to History.com, in February 1917, very soon after, the US Congress passed a $250 million arms appropriations bill intended to make the United States ready for war. This is a war they didn't want to be involved in. They were just happy to be selling stuff to both sides and just getting on with being a pretty prosperous country. Germany sunk 4 more US merchant ships the following month, and on April the 2nd, Woodrow Wilson appeared before Congress and called for a declaration of war against Germany. In his address to the US Congress, Wilson said, quote, "The world must be made safe for democracy. Its peace must be planted upon the tested foundations of political liberty. We have no selfish ends to serve. We desire no conquest, no dominion. We see no indemnities for ourselves, no material compensation for the sacrifice we shall freely make." They're basically saying we're doing this for the good of the world. There's nothing in it for us. Which
Just like they were doing it for the good of the world when they were like supplying both sides of the
Yeah, for the good of the world.
of the war to
Yeah,
keep killing each other.
yeah, well, that's the point. And though he said there was no dominion they sought to gain, because I mean this is what Europe was doing from before the World War until after. They were taking over countries, chopping them up, sharing them out between countries. They go, we'll take this half of this African area, you can have some of that. We'll fight over it to get where the border's going to be. And they were doing that around the world.
Yeah.
America, they weren't really doing this, and that's what I guess that's who he's saying that to, these European countries. We're not doing it for any land or anything. But despite him saying that, perhaps the fear of losing some territory may have factored into their decision to join the war, as according to World War I Centennial.org, around the same time, quote, an intercepted German telegram revealed a plan offering Mexico territory it had lost to the US during the Mexican-American War of 1846 to 1848 in exchange for its support. So Germany's going, hey, Mexico, you jump on board with us and we win, we'll give you that territory back that America took from you. So maybe, and apparently that happened just before America joined the war. So the bombing of their boats and blowing up of their people played into it. Perhaps also them going, we don't like this deal that Germany's making with Mexico as well, potentially. According to World War I Centennial.org once again, in the months that followed America entering the war, over 4 million Americans of all backgrounds entered military service and prepared to go overseas. That's a big shot in the arm for the Entente. The US government took an active role in mobilizing American industry and society in support of the war effort. And in France, General John Blackjack Pershing led the effort to organize millions of incoming American troops into an effective fighting force. This is kind of where I'm finishing up the first half of the report with America.
I love that
the war.
America's entering, and it's like ending on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, so I'll just get to their first battle, and then we'll call it until next week. In May of 1917, the US Congress authorized the Selective Service Act, initiating the first military draft since the Civil War. This is a big thing. On May the 28th, the US fought its first major battle of the war in the Battle of Cortigny, American troops captured the town of Courtigny, scoring a victory over the Germans and taking an important observation point. The war was changing. Like, it really was a big turning point, America joining the war. And, that's where we're leaving it for this week.
Whoa.
Wow. How will it end? Who will win?
We'll find out next week.
Oh, thank goodness.
I will let you know.
Great.
If I find out. Assuming I find out first,
That's right.
You will be.
Be honest, have you looked ahead or are you...
No spoilers.
Yeah, great.
Don't want to.
It's interesting for you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta keep it fun for yourself, yeah.
I haven't read any of this before I'm reading it.
Wow.
That's why I stumble half the time. Especially on this episode that I have no time to edit out those stumbles. Normally I do it painstakingly. The ones that I normally leave in are on purpose.
Yeah, to make you seem human.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound robotic otherwise.
Uh-huh.
No one's perfect.
You don't want to sound scripted, you know?
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what if listeners like the idea of doing some bigger topics that are two-parters, or if that is frustrating to have a cliffhanger. I know having being in the middle of because TV was just all binging, and then Disney Plus has come in, and all of a sudden they're doing weekly stuff, and I just want to get to the end of WandaVision. Every episode I watch, I'm like, I want to watch the next one, but anyway, whatever.
I don't care, I'm fine.
Hopefully the listeners aren't feeling that way right now, although they probably are.
Yeah.
There are some definitely some topics that I've thought about before, and I've thought that's too big.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that in one episode. So maybe if people are up for the two-parters, it can become an occasional thing.
Yeah, sweet. I mean, this halfway through, and we're well over an hour into it. So, and we've I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we stopped talking bullshit for 15 minutes at the start. Fun little thing we've done. Huh?
Yeah, now we just talk a little bit more bullshit right here. But I got to say, Matt, you're doing...
Bethman really got me.
Bethman, sorry.
I thought I was going to throw up. I was laughing so hard. And then my eyes were closed. I was laughing. And when I opened them, I was scared I was going to faint. Something about it
You really
got
had
me.
a medical emergency over there.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Wow.
I am, Jess and Dave, you both students of history. Am I doing an okay job so far?
I think you're doing a fantastic job. I'm across it all. I'm understanding the different powers. Obviously, there's so many different moving parts, multiple countries and empires, and you're doing a great job.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
I consider myself more a student of life.
Yeah. Of now.
I'm a student of now.
I look back.
Actually, I'm a big old planner. I'm always looking ahead.
Yeah.
I'm very goals oriented as well.
You're a futurologist.
Yes, I am a futurologist. So all of this is new to me, and riveting, especially the U-boat stuff.
I know you love a sub.
God, they're dumb.
No, you find them annoying. Is it annoying or is it just strange?
I just think they're a bit silly. I think we're like, ooh, submarine, but it's like, what are you talking about? They're so silly. You know?
They brought America into the war. That was silly, actually. I think that was pretty silly.
That was a bit silly.
It does seem like, I mean, you always look back on the losers and go, ooh, that's a big tactical error.
Yeah.
And then the other side makes big tactical errors as well, and you just don't think about them as much.
Yeah, exactly right.
But that tactical error led to our victory. You know, you really spin it. But I got to say, some of the things, it does feel like there were a couple of foolish choices.
See, like I had to look at the map to see how hard it would have been to go around Belgium. It wouldn't have been that hard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it seems unnecessary to just go and start blowing shit up, and
it's
like they were the ones going, no, thank you.
If they really wanted this quick win, then don't bring in other powers.
Yeah, twice they've brought in two big powers by accident,
and they still was. I mean, they were still. It shows how powerful they were.
Yeah, it's amazing that they gave it such a great run already. It's like, whoa.
It's amazing.
Because imagine if they hadn't brought in these powers.
Yeah, that's right. You'd
might have got the job done for their side.
Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to everyone's favourite section of the show, the fact, quote, or question section. It has a little jingle, I think, or something like this.
Fact, quote, or question. Ding! A little early on the ding.
Always early on the ding.
Thank you.
No, sometimes I nail it. Come on.
Oh, yeah. You do normally nail it.
Sometimes I go, 1, I do, and I know what to do. That's what I do usually.
Okay.
I didn't count in this time. Sorry.
No, you went with your heart.
I was
your
on
heart was wrong.
I was Mario in Mario Karts, and I hit the accelerate too early. Thought I was going to get a boost, and I absolutely,
you fucked it.
Yeah, I stalled it. Sorry, everyone.
So the way you get involved in this is you go to dogoonpod.com or patreon.com/dogoonpod and you sign up on the Sydney Scheinberg Deluxe Memorial Edition package. Rest in peace. And you get a bunch on that level. It's one of the higher levels, admittedly. You get a bunch of different rewards. You get all the ones from the other lower levels, including voting rights on topics. Mm-hmm. You get to get 3 bonus episodes per month. You get, including a bonus report. You get this month. Dave read a childhood book to Jess and I, in a show that we now call My Dave Wrote a Poirot.
That's right, because it was a self-penned book from when I was 12.
And a bit of
mystery.
Do you want to give the sizzle of what you found during the week?
Oh, well, let me just tell you that I was doing a bit of cleaning out of old stuff at my parents' house, and I may have found another short story written at an even younger age.
Oh,
Incredible.
a prequel.
It's even younger.
It is prequel, yeah. It is an even earlier Poirot.
That is exciting.
So hopefully we'll be able to read that out soon as a Patreon-only episode.
You get other things like access to the exclusive Facebook group and many other things. So get involved if you want to. But this is the main one for that level. You get to give a fact, a quote, or a question. You also get to give yourself a title. And first up this week, the great Rachel Johnson, who's given herself the title Official Human/Emu Liaison. Oh, great.
God, we needed that.
That is very handy.
Thank goodness. We learned our lesson. We need one of those.
Yeah.
We don't want it to kick off again.
And Rachel is asking a question. And here's the question. I don't read them until I read them. Here it is. If you each had to compete on a reality TV show, which one would it be?
Dancing with the Stars.
That is a great question.
Dancing with the Stars.
It's the only one I do.
So a reality show. So game shows obviously don't count.
Yeah, I don't think they count.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got to be like a format.
Different genre.
Will not do like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Survivor, none of that. No, thank you.
What about The Amazing Race?
That'd be fun.
Still the crazy challenges.
Very much depends on who with.
Oh, I mean, you get a choice.
You
Yeah,
normally
I
get
know.
paired up with a good friend or a partner, don't you?
Yeah, that's a fucking nightmare.
Okay.
You wouldn't go with your partner?
No! No!
Really? But you guys travel together?
Yes!
I think that's
And
where
we've
this is
learned.
coming from.
That's right. The watermelon
Challenges
challenge.
for that.
The easiest person to fluster.
Right.
Like sometimes just like a supermarket will fluster him.
Really, the supermarket challenge would really get him.
Yeah, it's no good.
You want somewhere in between because you don't want them to be too unflustered either.
Yeah.
Because you're like, come on, get up. We've got a race to do.
Yeah.
Nah, not flustered.
She'll be all right. Yeah, exactly. Maybe my brother for Amazing Race, I reckon.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be fine.
What about you
But
and your...
you've already selected another
I know, I
show.
said Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, sorry, I was just wondering.
With your brother?
Because I'd like to dance. He's pretty strong. He could lift me, I reckon.
Okay.
But
I mean,
don't think he has the hips. for it.
Ideally, one of you would be a professional.
Exactly. So no,
dancer.
probably not with my brother, that one.
I hadn't thought of Amazing Race. I think that's one I'd go for.
Be
I'd
fun.
pretty much do any of
With
them.
who?
Any of you? Either of you?
I don't
I'd
wanna
go
do
with
it
you.
Yeah, I'll
There
do
you
it.
go.
Dave.
You guys go.
I would go with you. I would also go with you, Matt, on The Block.
Oh yeah,
Because
the
I
block
have
would be-
no practical experience. Like I can't even paint a fence.
We would be real underdogs on that. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I need someone like your brother who's got a trade.
Yeah.
I need someone who's got a trade.
Yeah, I would
it'd
again
be
do
a
the
good
block with
Yeah,
my brother.
I'll get either of your brothers with me on The Block.
Yeah. My brother has been on the block.
Really?
Yeah, he was like one of the tradies. For
Oh,
the
right.
team.
Because they bring. What I love about that is that they obviously, if people are overseas, I don't know if this is an international thing.
I think it might be one of the few.
Yeah, it's
ones
massive here, and it has been for over 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Every year they get a different couples to renovate homes, and it's a competition, and it's massive here.
Yeah.
With Andy Saunders, comedian,
Yes.
was on a few seasons ago. But a friend of mine and supporter of the show, Matt Flanagan, was also a chippy on there.
Yeah, there you
for
go.
a while.
Oh, very cool.
He said it was funny watching the episodes and going, it's not quite how I remember it.
Yep.
Yeah, a bit of editing there.
A little bit.
Unless he signed an NDA and shouldn't have told me that, then obviously just joking.
Kidding. Haha. Got you. And I'm not saying Dancing with the Stars because I consider myself a star, just because I would like to learn how to dance properly.
Oh, okay, cool.
That'd be nice, and it's for charity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do any of that. They all seem like a fun, easy way to
I don't think I would
Spend
do.
some time.
I mean, I'm not putting myself up for it, but if I ever was a celebrity, I don't think I can do I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out.
No
I don't
way.
think they actually get celebrities on that one.
Yeah, okay, so you think I'm
You probably
qualified?
are qualified, yeah.
You probably could get on
The
there.
snakes.
Yeah, no thank you.
This season, there was some, I think it was Tony Pearson got bitten on the face by a snake 3 times and kept going in the challenge.
Yeah.
I was like, even though it's non-venomous, when you're getting bitten by a snake on the face,
Yeah.
it's time to go.
No good.
For me, I don't like them.
A couple of people got bitten by snakes this season.
Yeah.
It's fucked. It's fucked.
I don't know, it seems like a bit of fun.
Anyway, great Channel 10
The
program.
thing I would keep thinking was they're not going to let me get badly hurt. Right?
Sure. So a snake biting you on the face?
Saw
Yeah, I
a
mean,
snake on the weekend.
Did you?
on your face?
No,
Or in
on
your
the ground.
pants?
Yeah.
Was it a venomous one? Do you reckon?
Trousers?
I don't know. I'd gave it a wide berth.
yeah, good
walk
call.
right
Probably safe
around
to
it.
assume that it is.
Yeah, I think it's smarter just to assume.
That's a fun question. I
That
like
was a great question. Yeah, good work, Rachel Johnson. This one comes from Jessica English, who's given herself the title of Maritime Attorney, International Waters or Bust. Bracket, we've hit a bit of a snag. May take a while. Bracket. For those who
us
don't know,
updated.
this is Dave's dream is to do a podcast in international waters.
Yes.
Or on international waters, not in a sub.
No.
No, we would love to be like in a floating zeppelin,
Barge.
a barge,
I'd love to be on a barge.
Azerbaijan.
a zeppelin-sized barge.
Barge.
Jessica has given us a fact. Here's the fact. A zebroid is a cross between a zebra and any other member of the family Equidae, pronounced Equidae. Got it.
You did it.
Which, besides zebras, includes donkeys, ponies, and horses. A zonky is a cross between a zebra and a donkey. A zony is a cross between a zebra and a pony. A zorse is a cross between a zebra and,
And
a
a
horse.
horse. I got that
Sauce.
one.
Good work.
Thank you.
She said, I don't know why, but I thought Jess would get a kick out of this fact.
She nailed it. I did.
Oh, yeah, wow.
I did a lot.
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you for everything. I'm eagerly awaiting a US or Canadian tour post-COVID. So are we.
Oh, my goodness. Cannot wait.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I was caught up with mates over the weekend for a bucks, and we were a couple of them. We went on a bucks a few years back, which was in Vegas, and we're talking about a 10-year reunion, which is still a few years away, but the dream is real.
That sounds like
We're
a
planning it out. We're deep into talking it out.
I love a 10-year reunion of a Bucks party.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's their 10th anniversary you're talking about.
Well,
And he's going to be like, sorry, hun.
no, I mean there was a gap between the bucks and the wedding.
Yeah, as there should be. You shouldn't do the Bucks like the same day. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I think that's how they used to do them, like the night
Night
before.
before? What are you fucking thinking?
And then like people getting eyebrows shaved off
yeah,
and
exactly.
stuff. What are you doing?
You
I'm
idiot.
so sorry.
Don't ever do that. A week or two ahead. A week is even pushing it.
Yeah, I recken 2 weeks just
2
to
weeks.
recover. I mean, how much can an eyebrow grow in 2 weeks?
Yeah, not that
They're
much.
slow growers, eyebrows. Been to a few buxes. Thank you, Jessica English. Another fantastic entry. This one comes from Paloma Velasquez.
Love it.
And Paloma is given themselves the title of Deputy Assistant Wombat Wrangler. Bloody love wombats.
Oof.
My favourite animal. Great job. Great work, Paloma. If you need any help, I'm happy to help wrangle. The question from Paloma is, as both a religious studies teacher and a Simpsons fan, this is a Homer Simpsons question that I pose to my students every year, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Could Jesus microwave a burrito so hot that even he could not eat it?
Oh, I mean,
What do your students answer into that? That is tricky. That's like a paradox, right?
yeah, is this a test?
I mean, he turned water into wine.
Yes.
So he's quite powerful.
Yes.
But also, if you're that powerful, you should be able to handle any heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. Great question. Oh.
I'm
mean-
going to say no.
As a Simpsons fan, I'm going to answer your question with a question. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Yeah, great question. I'm going to say, wow, microwave a burrito so hot. I don't have a microwave.
What?
It's weird, isn't it?
Why do you have a
I noticed that
microwave?
the other day when I needed to microwave something. I'm like, I don't have one of them.
I don't have one either at the moment.
What?
I'm 3 months clean.
I don't think I've had one for years. I can't remember
really?
the last time I've had one.
So what were you needing one for? Heating up food?
Yeah, but the burrito bread. The
Pita bread.
Oh, did you have to chuck it in a
Or
pan?
a tortilla.
tortilla.
Did you have to put it in a pan? Pan seared?
Yeah, just pan-seared it.
There you go. Well,
Why don't you have one? Do I need to buy you both microwaves?
I've moved to a place with a kitchen where it doesn't fit in the cupboard anymore. So,
Microwave in a cupboard.
got to get a small one.
Yeah.
You put the sauce and microwaves in cupboards. You are a weirdo.
I love hot sauce.
I put my microwave in the fridge.
Yeah. Like a normal person.
All right, quick answers. Yes or no? Can he make it so hot that he can't eat it?
Yes, I think it's one of the only.
Quick answers, Dave.
Yes.
No.
I'm tie break. Gotta say, no.
Well, you're doubting the big man, guys.
Well, the problem is he'll always be able to eat it. He can eat anything. He's Jesus. Thank you so much, Paloma.
They put it in
That's
the
one of
Bible.
the famous things in the Bible.
Jesus can eat
Chapter 2.
anything.
Menu.
He'd be great. He'd be great on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Oh, yeah.
He'd, all the
He's like
challenges.
slugs, no worries.
Fantastic. Well,
Easy peasy.
balls.
That snake's
Great.
biting me. I'm going to eat it. Yeah. I'm going to
Trying
eat
to eat
that
me?
snake.
I'll let you.
All right, I'll show you. No, fuck you.
The final one this week comes from Paul McNally, who's given himself the title of Country Music Sensation.
All right.
Brilliant. I love it.
The Paul McNally.
How many golden guitars do you reckon he's won?
Oh,
Countless.
too many.
Yeah.
Well done, Paul. Great title.
That's great.
Paul's given us a fact. Here it is. In July 1855, a fight between a crew of firemen and a troop of clowns in a brothel. You're facting this fact back to us. I'm pretty sure Jess did an episode on this, or am I wrong?
Yeah.
A fight between a crew of firemen and a troop of clowns in a brothel in Toronto descended into a huge riot that lasted for hours. This directly led to the firing of the entire police force of that city of Toronto. This was the most random pair of sentences I've read in weeks. That's so funny that he was able to break down your whole report.
Was that a bonus?
No, it was
Is it
called the
Toronto Clown Riot?
yeah, something like that.
You did that, Jess. Do you not remember?
I vaguely remember it. Yeah. What's wrong with me?
You're always thinking of the future.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm thinking ahead.
You're not.
I mean, I've done that report in the past.
You don't look in your mirrors. It's not. that's not
For people
you.
playing at home want to check it out because it is an interesting story. That is episode 153 from September 2018.
Okay. All right. That's long enough ago that it's okay. I don't remember it. I do. I do. When Matt started, I was like, hang on, we've
you
done
did have
this
that
story.
Look. You
Yeah.
had that look.
And I knew I'd done it, but I would have thought it was a bonus. But I did a whole report on it. Cool.
And thanks for bringing it to our attention again, everyone, because
It's good to remember,
Well,
isn't
that
it?
wasn't everyone. That was country music sensation Paul McNally.
oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, Paul.
And that takes us to a few more shout-outs where we thank a few of our supporters from the DB Cooper level. No.
Ass prod.
Ask Prod level and above, including some DB Cooper level people. Jess?
Don't turn it back on me.
And Jess, you normally come up with a little game. We give them a nickname or something to do with the topic somehow.
It's hard because our topic has been World War One.
That's true.
So I'm not sure what we can give
What if we
them.
give them a superpower?
Oh, much like.
No, I mean as in like which country or nation
Oh,
or
yeah,
empire. Because there are more than...
All right, let's see what Dave does with this.
Yeah. Yeah, you start us off, Dave. We definitely get it. We know exactly what you mean.
Oh, it's not going to be very fun. It'll be me being like, representing the Russian Empire.
Oh, that's fun. Are there 9? Yeah, I guess there are.
Can you think of 9?
Of all time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first from Taupo in New Zealand, it is Hugo Cameron.
Hugo Cameron, come on down, representing the Ottoman Empire.
Oh,
Is that what Ottomans, like the footstools, are named after?
gotta be, right?
Gotta be. Gotta be.
Gotta be.
Gotta be.
Gotta be. I reckon maybe once every month there'll be a tweet I see that joins those two things together.
Yeah. But has anybody confirmed it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No one's looking it up. Thank you so much, Hugo Cameron, representing the Ottoman Empire with 600 years of domination. I'd also love to thank from Henderson in Nevada, the United States, Kelly Parrish.
Kelly Parrish representing Japan.
All right.
What was their full title when they were, or just current, are they a current superpower? Or are you talking like World War era superpower?
Oh, I guess I'm just nations, empires.
Yeah, great.
Anyone who was part of World War One. It was the Empire of Japan.
Empire of Japan. That is good. You've taken one from each side so far. Love that. Love that balance.
That is good.
That is good. And finally from me, I'd love to thank from Oldham in England, Paul Meller.
Paul Meller, come on down, representing entering the war in 1915. It was Bulgaria.
Okay.
What point were they at power?
The Tsardom of Bulgaria, also known
Tsardom.
as Kingdom of Bulgaria.
Tsardom
Nice
is good.
work.
I will say some of these are more powerful than others, but still.
It's because they did, Bulgaria has had some, some time at the top of the pops, I'm sure. When I was in Bulgaria, I was there traveling by myself, and I was walking through a market one time, and I've probably told this story on here before. Have I? Group of guys sort of corralled me into an alleyway and then circled me and were talking to me in Bulgarian, I guess. And I didn't speak Bulgarian.
Not
But
yet.
they were sort of talking quite threateningly. And then I'm going, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Oh, and I'm like, oh no, they don't know. They're not talking English either. I'm just sort of like apologizing. It was about 12.
Oh my God, circling you.
They were fully, like, literally circling me. And then, and I was just clearly shitting myself because I'm like, I'm in this country by myself. I don't know anyone
Oh
here.
man, if you disappeared, no one would know.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of thing. It's like, and this is more than 10 years ago. Internet's kind of primitive and stuff. People would have barely known I was in Bulgaria, and then they started laughing, and then sort of just let me go. And I have no idea.
You don't know
happened.
what the joke was.
No idea. It was just like they were either like It sort of felt like a mugging.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, I don't have anything. But then when they started laughing, I'm like, were they just trolling me? I still don't know if I was in danger or if they were just fucking with me, having a bit of fun.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there was a little bit of time there where I'm like, well, this is how it ends.
So, riddle me this, though. When you've been hanging out with groups of your friends, you've done the same thing to an innocent bystander, right? As a funny joke.
Yeah, we all have a laugh.
The boys.
We circle a guy who...
Yeah, doesn't speak the language.
Bit of fun.
And then we say really nice things to him, but our tone is really wrong. We say, do you need directions, mate? Welcome to Melbourne. It's a beautiful city. Enjoy our cafe culture. Then we watch him shit himself for a bit, and then we just leave. Bit of fun.
Bit of fun.
Boys. Anyway.
Had a great time there apart from that.
Apart from that, I reckon that would be enough for me to ruin that place for me. Like, I didn't have a great time in Spain because my wallet got stolen, and now I'm like, oh, bloody Spain. Because of that.
Spain. Yeah, Spain.
You had a very scary encounter, and you're like, had a great time. I had a bloody great time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I reckon that afternoon was... there was a bit of a damper. I don't think I probably just wandered back looking bewildered.
And thought, I should check in with someone.
I got to get to a dorm.
Yeah.
Get some people around me.
I gotta get some people.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
We're thanking some people,
Oh,
and I'd like to do
yes.
that now as well, if I may.
Dave, are you going to keep... you're going to keep...
Yeah, I got a list here.
Okay.
All right, well,
Greg?
let's keep working off that list.
I would love to thank from San Bernardino.
Oh, I don't know where that is, but it sounds awesome.
California.
California.
I'd love to thank Daniel B. Sawyer.
Oh, Daniel B. Sawyer, he be representing New Zealand.
Oh, bit of sizzle.
That's, great. The land of the long white cloud.
That's a great title for
So
a
good.
So good. Beautiful place.
opening,
Beautiful place. Can't wait to go back.
Yes. And it seems like possibly that our bubble with them is reopening.
That'd be nice. Haven't done the North Island, so love to do that.
So, isn't that classic sort of imperialist stuff? Haven't done the North Island. You want to go and conquer the North Island.
Yeah.
You and what
Plant
army?
your flag, do you? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm going to take my army over. Plant a flag. Say, mine. Shotgun.
I do believe their army's pretty small.
So I can take them. I can, leg press a lot.
An entire army. That's awesome.
Easy
Are
peasy.
you going to invade neutral New Zealand?
Yes.
That does feel like a bit of a faux pas.
Can you stop giving away my plan?
Sorry.
Anyway, I would love to thank from Derbyshire, also in Great Britain, Alex Cauldron.
Oh, I believe it. Is that Derbyshire?
I was going to say,
Derbyshire,
only
thank you.
because the people there would find
Yeah,
that
they get
out.
annoyed, and also because that was my grandmother's surname.
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire. And it would annoy her as a teacher to be called Derbyshire. Mrs. Derbyshire.
Isn't it? I read this not too long ago because I'm like, what is it meant to be? Because Americans and Western Australians say Derby, and East Coast of Australia and England say Derby. But I think I read that it started out as Derby, and then something happened where they started saying Derby, but it had already made it to America and it was Derby or something like that.
Right.
So I think Derby is actually the original, which is funny.
There you go.
Bit of fact, if true.
Bit of fun.
Bit of fact.
Bit of fact.
Bit of facts for you.
Oh, no.
A little bit of fact.
A little bit of fact.
And
Take it, don't leave it.
Who are we thinking from Derbyshire?
Alex.
Alex, not representing Derbyshire this time, but representing a client state of the German Empire, the Ukraine.
Okay.
Oh, the Ukraine. I reckon that's one of the funner country names, the Ukraine.
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
like
fun.
it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Especially if you think of it as like the third brother to Fraser and Niles.
Ukraine.
Uke?
Also, the capital being Kiev, lending its name
Oh,
to the
yeah.
delightful chicken meal.
Yeah. I went to school with a guy called Richard Kiev, and you better believe his nickname was Chicken.
Not even chook?
No.
Chicken.
Garlic sauce. Garlic.
Not even Saucy Boy.
My parents.
You saucy boy.
My parents have is he the accountant who has also looked after their will and their super fund and everything. And when they were going overseas one time, they were like, all right, we'll leave you any documents and stuff in case anything happens to us. And I was like,
In case we get encircled in Bulgaria.
yeah.
Get
And
laughed at.
and because I was like, yeah, actually, I don't know who to contact. I know your accountant's name is Chook, but but I don't think I can find him that way.
We trusted Chook with everything.
I know, and I was like, what's Chook's name? They're like, Ray. I'm like, why?
Peck twice for yes.
Chook. I'm like,
Chook knows so many family secrets.
yeah, Chook has it all. He knows my name, that's for sure.
He's got the keys to the kingdom, Chook.
Bloody Chook, he's in charge. Anyway, finally for me, I would love to thank, from another place I'm sure to mispronounce, Brinston.
And where's that?
Also in Great Britain.
Princeton.
Brinston.
Beautiful. Just rolls off the tongue.
I would love to thank Jack Evans.
Well, Jack Evans,
Thank you.
step away from Brinsley because you are now representing the good people of Canada.
All right.
Canada.
Love that.
Fantastic.
So thank you so much for your support. Oh, thank you so much. Jess is handing me her laptop so I can thank people and also read out countries at the same time. Hard on the one phone. All right, I would love to thank, if I could, from Beadle, also in Great Britain. Beadle, probably.
Bedale? Bedale.
Yeah, Bedale, that's probably it. Bedale. Bedale. I would like to thank Jamie Chisholm.
Jamie Chisholm.
Fantastic name there, Jamie Chisholm. I'm getting good vibes, so I'm going to assign you the big dog of the Central Powers. Germany.
Right.
Well done.
Fighting wars left, right, and centre. Thank you, Jamie Chisholm. I would now like to thank from Tempe in Arizona, Adrian Hernandez Oresta.
Tempe. Love it. Oh, what a name as well. I mean, as all these are, but
Absolutely fantastic.
I mean, we had Cauldron just before,
Yeah.
but Adrian Hernandez Arista is
Very good.
magnifique.
Adrian Hernandez Arista, we might be hearing from your country in the second half of this report, and that is you are representing Italy.
Italy will get a mention. Does
that?
and will.
Spoiling.
Sorry, little sizzle for your steak there.
I don't eat steak.
And finally from me, I would love to thank, sorry, I couldn't see because I'm holding up a laptop, from Winter Haven in Florida, name that comes up a lot, a great supporter of the show, that is Odie Matthews.
OD.
Thank you so much, Odie Matthews. And it started with the Ottoman Empire, and it's going to end with the Ottoman Empire. Also, the Ottoman Empire, I think, will end at the end of the next episode. But Odie Matthews.
You've given 2 Ottoman empires out.
No, it's the first. That was my example one.
Oh.
I don't think I assigned it to someone. Is that right?
No, you assigned
did.
it.
You definitely did.
Did I?
Yeah.
Fine, fantastic. Well, I still have. To be honest, the list for Central Powers is a lot shorter, so that's why I'm going to give you listed as a supporter from 1915 to 1916, and that is the Ethiopian Empire.
Oh.
So I don't think they did too much
I don't
fighting.
think you did Austro-Hungary, Great Britain, United States.
Yeah, but they're on well, apart from Austria-Hungary, you're right, I didn't do them. But the others are on the other side. I was trying to go one, then the other.
You're going for one
bit
for
of,
one.
Bit of not playing favourites in this world war.
But did leave out the one that started it all.
Yeah, well, I don't want to cast aspersions.
Fair enough.
So I'm bringing in the Empire of Ethiopia for you, Odie Matthews.
Anya, Odie. Thank you so much, Odie, Adrian, Jamie, Jack, Alex, Daniel, Paul, Kelly, and Hugo. And the last thing we like to do before we wrap up this week is invite a few of our long-term supporters into the Triptych Club. If you've been supporting us at the shout-out level or above for 3 years, you get invited into the Triptych Club, a beautiful lounge area, very exclusive. There's a velvet rope separating you from the plebeians. Plebeians? Dave?
Plebs.
Plebeians,
thank you.
Sounds stupid.
And
It's stupid.
It's a great. I love that word. It's
a
very
stupid word.
fun to
I
say.
hate it more than submarines.
I'm standing at the door with a list of names, checking off the list. Once you go in, Dave's standing there to hype you up, to make you feel good. This club's all about feeling good. Dave will make you particularly feel good as you enter the club. Jess then makes Dave feel good because this club's all about feeling good.
Yeah.
Jess has also organised a few hors d'oeuvres, a few drinks, cocktails. Dave's got a band going. Dave, who you got playing this
We've
week?
got Simon and/or Garfunkel.
Oh, and
Okay.
all.
But refusing to perform together, I'm afraid.
Right.
So it's one
supports
set,
the other.
then the other. But there's a fierce game of rock, scissors, paper as to who goes out first.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I'm looking forward to that. Love the Boxer. Great tune.
Hopefully.
Lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, lie, lie.
Do you reckon they'll let
Lie,
you
lie,
do that?
lie, lie, lie. Oh, do you reckon they can let me do the
I reckon they could.
That'd be fantastic.
I'll
Maybe I'll bring them back together with the power of my
Yeah.
kush.
that'd be great if they did
And the
solo
power of my
sets and then they worked it out and came together.
Yeah, the big
Did
finale.
a bit of bridge over troubled water together or something.
Like a breeze. No, I'm not going to do it.
So there's a dirty half D coming in today.
Oh,
Jess,
gosh.
what are they going to be enjoying in terms of
Well,
drinks and hors
World
d'oeuvres?
War One themed.
Yes.
Rations.
Oh, great.
Oh, okay.
Rations of bacon?
No.
Okay.
You can have one potato.
One potato,
Okay.
half a biscuit.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4?
No,
just the
one potato.
Okay.
Yes.
Whenever
there-
you say that, it starts me off. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3
Stop
potato,
it.
4. Well, you stop saying 1
You're
potato.
making yourself hungry.
there will
over
be a singular potato.
Singular, doubler, tripulated,
4.
quad.
Yeah, anyway, so it's rations this week. Luckily, there is still the full menu of the previous week, so
Oh, great.
it's just if you want to stick to the theme.
Awesome. All right, so let me bring him in. Dave will then hype them up with
All
their
right.
name. Jess will hype Dave. All right,
we
here
go,
we go.
Dave.
Six,
Yes.
so there's 6.
There's
You
6.
can do this.
Unless-
Easy peasy.
Try
We're gonna
not-
bang.
Try not to
through
peak
them.
early.
Here we
you know?
go. All right. First up from Hampton in Victoria, Australia. Sam Marcolin. Marcelin. one of those.
Which one? Just go with Sam.
Okay, yeah. Sam I am.
Yes, there he goes.
Sam Bam, thank you, ma'am.
Stop trying to help. Just get on with the fucking names.
I
You
mean,
just said bang, bang, bang. We're
And
going
what
to get
was
some
that?
momentum. And then
Sam
you
Bam-
just fuck the momentum
Sam Bam?
immediately.
Come on, Sam I am.
Shut up, Matt.
Sorry, yep. From Espanola in New Mexico in the United States, it's Carlos Arellano.
Something about loss. That's their
Oh,
loss.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We will not be feeling a loss tonight.
Yes.
Carlos.
Uh-huh.
Welcome in. Also from Schaumburg, Illinois in the United States,
wow.
it's Nathaniel Gingrich.
Oh, Gingrich. I feel Gingrich with your presence.
Yes. Incredible.
Thank you. Try not to peak early, but that might have been it.
That's okay. We're halfway.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Oh, no, there's only 5, sorry.
Okay, we're
well,
over halfway.
Matt, if you let me know, I probably would have calculated this slightly differently, but okay.
From Eliminate in Victoria. I think he's from Ballarat. Wait, no, Coburg. No, Colac. Sorry. Is that? But maybe more specifically, Eliminate in Victoria. It's LOL Radio.
Oh, LOL Radio. Eliminating the bad times.
I don't know if I understand.
Amazing. Shut up and read a name.
Isn't the name? You just said eliminate or something like that.
Oh,
He
yes.
said
so great.
eliminating bad
Yeah,
times.
great.
No, it's not for you to
No,
say whether it's
sorry.
good or bad. It's just for
Fine.
you to read a
If
name.
you'd prefer me to say, we'll be laughing out loud with you here. Thank
Yeah.
you so
yeah.
much.
Oh, lol.
That's Joff from LOL Radio.
Joff.
I believe.
Yeah,
What a
You're a
guy.
legend.
3 years. Jesus, gone.
Thanks, Joff.
And finally, this week from Riverstone in New South Wales, Australia, it's Blake Fishburne.
Oh, well.
This fish will be perfectly cooked.
I mean, so
He's got lake, fish, and river in his thing, and you couldn't come up with anything.
no, I got something, but then we just went off track here.
Dave, we're all waiting.
I just came up with something. It was pretty funny.
That was
Dave
fantastic. I'm
laughed.
going to hype you up.
Dave laughed.
Yes, Jess. I love it.
when Jess gets involved, it's all great, is it?
Yes, a hype man can hype up a fellow hype man.
Okay. Well, what am I?
You shut up.
You're a guy. You're
That's what you are. You're a shutter up.
You're a master of ceremonies. You read out names, mate.
I'm the gays, you're the Copeland sort of thing. I'll set you up, you do the dunks.
So I'm the Michael Jordan.
Yeah, you've got lots of assists.
And Jess is Magic Johnson.
Thank you.
Actually got all sorts of records. I'm actually the greatest.
Stop trying to make this about you.
Okay. I'll try, but it's hard.
Sorry, are you feeling like you've been fish burnt over there? Thank you so much. Good night.
Yes.
Thank you so much to Blake, Joff, Nathaniel, Carlos, and Sam. You're all legends. Welcome into the Triptych Club. Make yourselves at home. Enjoy a bit of... What's his name and the other guy?
Simon and or Garfunkel.
Simon and or Garfunkel.
That's right.
Garfunkel's such a good name. All right.
It's so great. And his first name's Art.
Yeah, very
Art.
good.
Everything about it
Wow.
is fantastic. So, Dave, wrap this up.
Well, we will be back next week with the thrilling conclusion, World War I Part 2. They said it couldn't be done. I said it couldn't be done, but Matt is proving me wrong, and I'm very happy that you've done so. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Get in contact with us at dogoonpod.com. There's links to our Patreon. We can support the show. Our merchandise. We can wear something nice while supporting the show. We got a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that sort of stuff at Do Go On Pod for all those things. And even an email, you know. While you're looking nice and you do go on merchandise, email us, dogoonpod@gmail.com. But until next week, when we'll finish off World War I, I'll say thank you and goodbye.
Later.
Bye.
This podcast is